The Goat House is back with my favorite picks and locks for NFL Week 12, going over the best bets, even a college football one, every single Thursday here in this video. Let's break down the picks. Spread lock of the week is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers -5.5 taking on the New York Giants, and I did make a pick against the spread and with the score prediction for every single game in a recent video. You can check that out, but yeah, I like the Buccaneers -5.5, getting healthier, coming off the bye. Two-headed monster at the running back position going against a Giants team that's really been struggling against the run, so they're going to have to worry about that. But the Buccaneers also can throw the ball. Mike Evans coming back. I think they'll be very successful on offense. And their issue, the Buccaneers, is their pass defense. But how much of a threat is a DeVito pass offense going to be? You know, I feel like the Giants are throwing in the towel. You know, they don't want to pay bonuses to Daniel Jones or Drew Lock. They're rolling with DeVito. I like the Buccaneers to win by around 10 points, possibly more. And then some picks that aren't really locks. I'm leaning with the Titans +8.5. Just seems like a lot of points for a team that plays pretty solid on defense in a divisional game. And the Chiefs, I know it's a big spread of 11, but it's growing on me more and more. The Chiefs are super good stopping the run. That's kind of the only thing the Panthers have going for them is running the football. So I see the Chiefs defense really lighting it up in this game, and the Chiefs offense should be wanting to kind of get back on track after, you know, somewhat of a letdown there. Mahomes with some turnovers, so hoping to do some damage with the spread picks like we did last week and like we've been doing most this year. Straight up locks, we've been on a roll with these, as we should be, just picking teams straight up. My favorite ones this week are the Chiefs going against the Panthers. The Chiefs, the far better team, and it's just a really good matchup. The Chiefs' defense matches up very, very well. The Panthers been winning games because their defense. Is that going to be a thing against Mahomes? Probably not. And because they're rushing offense against the Chiefs' rushing defense, I don't think they're going to do enough damage there. And the Commanders going against the Cowboys would not be up here if Dak Prescott was playing, but he's out. The season just seems like a loss right now for the Dallas Cowboys, and their biggest weakness is stopping the run, and that's what the Commanders do best, so a bad matchup on top of it. So those two teams should win. Quite a few other teams I thought about putting up here, but yeah, just some sneaky games. These are the ones I felt most comfortable, confident with here. We do have our weekly pick show up for Week 12. It's a lot of fun. You should check it out. A couple other guys join me on that one every single week. Don't forget to subscribe, turn notifications on. Loads of NFL content here every single week. Always adding bonus videos as well. Rookie rankings, mock drafts, playoff predictions on the way. Coaching candidates already up. So join us. Be much appreciated. Vikings, Bears. I like the under of 39. I also like the Bears under of 17.5. A little tricky because they're at home third time straight. Vikings away third time straight. And the Bears switch offense coordinators. They got a little bit of offense going last week because of that. Really no game plan for the Packers. The Bears still only scored 19 points. The Vikings defense much better here. Weather's starting to decline a little bit. I'm expecting big-time defense in this game. Vikings offense, Sam Darnold kind of coming back down to earth a little bit. The Bears play pretty good defense. Where they're not so great is the rushing defense, but the Vikings aren't the biggest threat on the ground. So this game should stay under 39 here. Both teams should score, be very limited on offense. Really should be an NFC North classic division rival defensive game here between the Vikings and the Bears. Eagles and Rams, you think of those teams and you think a lot of explosiveness, a lot of good players on offense, but 49 is a lot. I like the under on that one as well. The Eagles' defense has been one of the better ones in football recently, and I know this. Maybe someone's going to figure it out. Could it be Matt Stafford? Could see it, but that defense is playing so good. I don't expect a whole lot of offense against that Eagles defense. And the Rams defense is picking it up as well, and I expect the Eagles just to run the ball, run the clock. So I don't see this getting to 49. The Rams, the last few weeks, the last 3 weeks, they've had stretches in games with offense and no defense and stretches with defense and no offense. And the Eagles have had stretches with all defense and limited offense, and then the offense goes crazy if they need it in the end of the game. So I don't know how this gets over 49, so I like the under. And then one I'm leaning with, I'm not going to call it a lock, is the Dolphins-Patriots over. It's been bouncing around 46, 45. If you can get at 45, I like that over. Should go over, but you never know if the Patriots' defense is going to show offense and defense. Sometimes their offense is quiet. Sometimes their defense is really good. But there should be a good amount of scoring in that game between those two teams. But these are my favorite ones here on your screen. Couple parlay options. We also have last second picks and more picks, including props on our Twitter. There's a link pinned in the comments for that. You're definitely going to want to follow that. Been on fire with the primetime picks. But parlay, a good two-leg parlay here. The Chiefs, bring it down a little bit. I like them at -11, but if you bring it down to that 9.5, They should win by at least 10 points. Again, they're the far better team. Maybe the Panthers, slowed up a little bit because of the bye week, but the matchup favors the Chiefs. The reason the Panthers have been able to win is because their rushing attack. The Chiefs are really good stopping and run. They'll create turnovers on Bryce Young, and their offense should have no problem on the ground and through the air against that Panthers defense, and they're coming off a loss. They're going to be angry. They're going to be wanting to run up the score. So I like that. And I like the Bucs. Minus 5.5 should win by at least a touchdown against the Giants, who feel like they're throwing in the towel. So if you pair just those two together, plus 205 is pretty good, pretty damn good odds for just pairing those two realistic games together. And then if you want to go with a bigger odds option, maybe I wouldn't do both those bets. You could if you want to, but I'm going to go one or the other. I like the 2-leg, but Buccaneers, if you feel a little safer, bringing it down to 2.5. The Vikings plus 3.5. The Titans plus 14.5. They shouldn't lose by that much. Chiefs feel a little more comfortable bringing it down to 6.5 since you're pairing all these games together. And the Eagles, much like the Vikings, you can flip that, go plus 3.5, and that is a pretty good odds of plus 439. Excuse me. We had a good one of these going last week, and we hit every one, but the Chiefs end up screwing us. Who would have thought the Chiefs would lose by more than 7.5 points? But those feel like some very realistic options there. They all feel really, really good. Like some of those teams that are getting points obviously could lose. I don't see them losing by, that amount of points that we have on those adjusted lines. Loving the touchdown picks for this week, and we're always tweeting our last-second picks, some different touchdown picks, some props, especially the primetime one's been working out very well, so again, follow that Twitter. But favorite anytime touchdowns, we'll go both Lions running backs. I think Gibbs stands out a little bit more, just looking at what works against the Colts. Running backs work against the Colts, but a guy that can get explosive plays on the ground and through the air, kind of like Breece Hall last week, stands out a little bit more. Maybe that's more of Gibbs than Montgomery, but I like them both. Brian Robinson Jr., goal line machine, physical back, very, very solid this year going against the Cowboys, who all the running backs are scoring and dominating the Cowboys, so that looks like a really good option there. And then Nico Collins had a touchdown taken off the board last week, and look who he's playing this week, the Titans. They stopped the run very well, so they can limit Joe Mixon. You're going to have to throw on the Titans, which opens things up for Nico Collins. James Conner for the Cardinals, their rushing attack's been really solid, and going against Seattle, that's got to be the game plan for Arizona. So I see James Conner punching one in, and Jalen Hurts is here because he scored 9 touchdowns over the last 5 games. So it's a pretty good option there, obviously. Best plus options, we're going to kind of revisit some of the guys I talked about. Nico Collins is plus 120. That's incredible odds. He should definitely be minus 110, I feel like would be where I would put it. So plus 120 looks really solid for Nico Collins, given that the Titans stopped the run. Texans are going to have to throw. That's their best option. And then how about pairing the Lions running back duo, which is never a bad choice. And, there's some weeks where it's kind of just Monty on the goal line. But again, the Colts matchup, I think actually favors Gibbs a little bit more. But Montgomery's going to get, if they get on the goal line, he's the guy. So I really think both will score. That's at plus 160. And how about Brian Robinson Jr., 2 times scoring 2 touchdowns this game, is a whopping plus 400. Think about what works against the Cowboys running the football, specifically physical backs. They get out physical by some of these backs, and Brian Robinson, whether he's on the goal line or 10 yards out, 20 yards out, he will score touchdowns in this game. That's a really solid option. I guess the only scare is Jaden Daniels could scramble for one. Austin Eckler's been pretty good for them recently while Brian Robinson Jr. was out, but this just feels like a B-Rob type of game going against the Cowboys. So that's one to throw a couple bucks on it. That's worth a shot at plus 400. So love those touchdown options here in Week 12. In the college football pick of the week, I had 2 that I really love for a lock, and I'm like, which one do I put on here? I'm going to roll with the Fighting Irish here going against Army. I guess a little tricky because Army is undefeated. Some people think they can be sneaky win the game. I see a lot of people picking them against the spread, but we've been 7-1 on these on the year, so let's keep it rolling. Notre Dame, we picked against Navy as well. I'm going to go at Notre Dame again. Again, I got more picks in a parlay every single week for Twitter subscribers, so college football has been very fun this year. But back to Notre Dame going against Army. A similar matchup to the Navy game, and my reasoning for picking Notre Dame against Navy is Navy has not been tested yet, right? They have not been tested. They haven't seen the physicality, the speed of the Fighting Irish. It's something totally new that they're just not prepared for. And the same thing goes for Army. Army has the second weakest schedule in all of college football. The best team they have played, Is it East Carolina? I'd say it's probably North Texas. Their more recent game, they won 14-3 in that game. They controlled the clock, and that's what they have to do here. If they can get those crazy long drives, but even with that, do they have a chance here? Notre Dame has been one of the more dominant teams recently. They've been one of the more better teams covering the spread as well. I think they're going to roll in this game. It's going to be at Yankee Stadium. Army's just not tested for Notre Dame's physicality and their speed. I think they're really going to get rolling in this game. They're going to win it big. I think around 42-16 is where I'm thinking. Notre Dame should score a lot of points here. And the key here for Notre Dame and covering the spread is if Notre Dame could get up 2 scores, if it's 10-0, if it's 14-0, 13-0, whatever it may be, it's over. They're going to run away because it's going to limit Army's ability to what they do is long drives, long rushing drives. You can't do that really when you're down by 2 scores or more. And that was kind of Navy's issue. They were continuing to try to do that, and they were just digging themselves bigger of a hole. I wish Army was tested. If they were a little more tested, even with a loss, like if they played a really good team and they lost by a little bit, I would not put this as my lock. But because they are nowhere near tested, they haven't seen anything near Notre Dame, it's going to hit them. It's going to hit them. So that's why I'm going to leaning with them. But I was 50-50. It's another game that I really, really love. We have it for our Twitter subscribers that I really thought about putting up here. That team is away on a night game, so that's kind of what the deciding factor. And Notre Dame helped us against Navy as well. It's very, very similar. I do think Army's a little bit better than Navy. I definitely do think they're better than Navy, but it's just something totally new for Army. They were kind of resting last week without playing any tough competition, off the bye, and just waiting to play this team that they have not seen yet. I think that hurts them in a game like this. But sometimes Notre Dame just doesn't show up. We've seen that over the years. It's typically early in the year. We saw it once early this year, but they're a much different team now. It feels like they're fast, they're physical. The defense this might be the best defense in college football, and that's while having significant injuries too. So I like Notre Dame this week. But I got a lot of other good picks and cooking up a parlay as well before Saturday hits for our Twitter subscribers. So that bonus content along with the college football content there. But that wraps it up. Let me know your favorite NFL picks, your college football picks. Do we keep rolling? Is it going to be 8-1 after this week? College is usually tough, so I'm very happy with how we've done this year on the picks. It's a lot more fun this year, college football. It feels like there's a lot more balance to it this year out there. Cannot wait for the 12-team playoff. We'll probably cover that in the video as well. But loads of content here, weekly picks, pick show, score predictions, power rankings, picks against the spread. We have the locks. We're always adding videos like mock draft, coaching candidates, playoff predictions in the very near future. We'll take an early look at free agency. Again, covering the draft. We got you here more than anybody covering football. So hopefully you join us, like, subscribe to notifications on. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.